Yes, it is true. You are about to pay the price for something that you have no control over. I'm going to explain what that is in today's video. All I ask is if you enjoy these daily updates, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. So as of right now, we have many issues here within the United States and abroad. But there's something that's going on here within the United States that is affecting decisions abroad, that those decisions are coming back to affect us here in the United States. It's going to affect more than 328 million people here in the US. Now, what is this? Well, it's actually our government funding bill. Right now, lawmakers are attempting to find ways to pay for our government funding. They're trying to determine how much money we should spend, if we should see any cuts. But in the meantime, there's other very pressing issues over in Israel. Right now, lawmakers are trying to pass an additional bill that's going to send about $14.3 billion to Israel. There's also an additional $56 billion going to go to things like high-speed internet and humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. But that's a separate bill. The issue, though, is how do all those things get paid for? Well, I want to show you this. According to the Huffington Post, to pay for the Israeli aid, the GOP wants to make it more expensive for you to file your taxes. Well, what do they mean? How is this going to work? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The $14.3 billion that right now is President Biden is asking to go to Israel, not Ukraine, just Israel. Well, and again, there's an additional like $60 billion trying to go to Israel or going to Ukraine as well. But that's a different bill. So there's $14.3 billion attempting to go to Israel. Well, in order to find the money, what the GOP in the House has actually asked is, well, let's just reappropriate $14.3 billion that was originally meant to go to the IRS for things like hiring new agents, doing online support, phone calls, things like that. Let's take $14.3 billion from that existing funding and let's just reappropriate it over to Israel. Simple. Well, that's where things are starting to turn into an issue. And this is where many are saying that new Speaker Mike Johnson's Israel proposal runs into stiff Senate opposition. One of his main people that is should be on his side but opposes the bill is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, because he wants aid to Ukraine and to Israel to go together. And if they don't go together, the aid to Israel is going to pass. The aid to Ukraine is likely going to fail. But what does this mean? And how is this going to impact every single one of us? Well, the biggest thing here is we need to understand, by taking money from something like the IRS, it's actually going to cost the American people a little bit more money when we do file our taxes. Here's why. According to multiple reports, the IRS, well, pretty much Congress, has made an agreement, and there's legislation that there's the things like TurboTax, Intuit, H&R Block, they all have to provide a free digital filing service. And so each one of them have, as long as you make under $73,000 per year, you can file your taxes for free on any one of those sites. Well, this is going to expire in 2025. So once this expires, the IRS is then going to implement their own free digital filing system through the IRS portal. There's a problem. The things that are being pulled because of this, the funding to Israel, and this is money that was sent out through the Inflation Reduction Act. Well, here are the things that are being targeted. The free digital filing program is the first one that's being targeted. So that right there is pulled, which means if we do not get a new agreement with H&R Block, TurboTax, and Intuit, then, and the IRS doesn't do anything as far as providing additional funding, to the IRS to go and actually, create this portal. Well, then it's going to cost the American taxpayers more money. We will then have to pay to have our taxes filed. Okay? The other things that are being targeted, the GOP offsets would cut funding to IRS for enforcement, operations support, policymaking, and internal investigations. Okay? So that's big right there. Here's the other thing. President Biden, he wants more money. President Biden wants another $56 billion for emergency spending. These are things like disaster relief, but less than half of the $56 billion is going to disaster relief. There would be another $9 billion that would address ongoing disaster response and recovery efforts. These are things that are already happening. For example, the Maui wildfires. And then there's hurricanes and stuff like that as well. So $56 billion there. Well, according to multiple experts, they're saying that a lot of these programs that we currently have are going to feel the impact because they are going to experience cuts. One thing that we have heard, and one of the biggest ones, is Social Security. How can Social Security withstand all the problems that we're having right now? Well, here's what we do know. Nearly 90% of Americans aged 65 years of age or older are receiving a Social Security benefit as of June 30th. Okay? This is from the Social Security Administration's data. The federal payments represent about 30% of all their income. All Social Security recipients' income. Okay, and this is Social Security payments. This is investments, whatever. Right, 30% is coming from Social Security. So a decent amount. But in 2023, there were over 67 million Americans that were on Social Security. It's total about $1.4 trillion in spending and payments. That was just for the fiscal year. Here's where things get very scary. In 2022, we saw about 58 million people filing for Social Security benefits. Currently, it's about 67. We're estimating that in 2035, so in about 11 years, we're going to have about 75 million people collecting benefits. Okay? This is going to balloon up. This is why we are expecting the Social Security Trust Fund will become insolvent by 2034, which is in just 10 years. But one thing I can tell you is that everybody is wondering, well, how can we pay for these things? Well, here's where some people say, and many experts believe, that freedom is not free. Here in the United States, we are paying. We are paying the price. And what's tough about this is lawmakers can't agree to a deal. One of the biggest things that is set to expire very soon is the Tax Cuts and Job Act. Okay? This will expire on December 31st, 2025. This was, many people call this the Trump tax cuts. What happened in this, and there's other things as well, but one of the biggest things to the majority of Americans is that your tax rate was brought down. Okay, your individual tax rate, it dropped. I have it right here. I want to show you this. Right here, okay? It says, with the exception of those who were at 10%, those making $11,000 or less, and 35%, those earning $231,000 to $528,000, tax rate levels prior to 2018, all income tax rates decreased when the new laws came into effect. Here's how they decreased right here. It says the top individual tax rate dropped from 39.6% to 37%. That's pretty good, right? 2.6% savings. Under the terms of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, single filers making $578,126 and over, okay, that was the 39,000 or 39.6 to 37%. Says the 33% bracket fell to 32%, so just 1%, but still something. The 28% bracket fell to 24%. This is big because this is $95,000 to $182,000. and the 25% bracket fell to 22%. So you're saving 3% there. And that was from 44,000 to 95,000. The majority of people are in the 12% tax bracket, which used to be 15%. You can see it right here. Well, those are people making between $11,000 and $1 to $44,725. So right there, it's huge. You are saving money. Okay? Now, right now, you're saving between 1% to 4% with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The problem is this is going to expire on December 31st, 2025. Now, yes, we got a little bit of time. We got over 2 years. But this is what people are asking. If we were to remove the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and we put the tax rate back to where it was, then we could take that money, we could go and fund Social Security. We could help fund the IRS. We could fund all these other priorities. So what's interesting about this is if we want, as the American people, we want to ensure that there's more benefits for us, or what many people are calling entitlements. Well, we're going to have to pay the price. So I asked you, would you be okay with paying more in taxes if you knew that money was going to the Social Security Trust Fund? That money was going to go to the IRS. That money was going to go to provide nutrition assistance for underprivileged children and families. Would you be okay with some of your tax dollars going to help pay for affordable housing? Let me know down in the comment section below, because I've been talking to a lot of people lately and everyone says, yes, we need more benefits. We need this and that. We need stimulus checks. We need all these additional assistance programs. But when I ask them, would you be okay if you had to pay more in taxes? They say no. That shouldn't come out of their pocket. I'm curious, where does the money come from? Yes, we can pay for these things by taxing billionaires and large corporations, but at the same time, if you tax the large corporations, what's going to happen is they're going to just push that money or push those additional costs onto the consumer. And if you are paying for some of their products, whether it's a computer, whether it's a Netflix account, maybe it's just new shoes, doesn't matter. They will push that over to you, and you will then pay the price. Again, I tell you, over 320 million people are going to pay the price for something that they really have no control over. So, that's what we got for you guys today. As always, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.